What's going on today, guys? Today I'm gonna have another video and it's gonna be a little different. I'm kind of talking today about just some of my favorite games in general. And if you've never played any of them, or at least one of them, you should definitely give it a try. List some reasons why. Definitely a different video. I just wanted to talk about some of my favorites, maybe like one from each series. But anyway, what better game to start with than the OG itself, Super Mario 64. Now, this was like the first favorite game I ever had. You'll see what I mean by that later, where originally this was my favorite game. Obviously, now it's Metroid Prime. This was like the go-to game for me over the years where you can never really go wrong. It's always like, oh, I'm gonna have a fun time no matter how many times I play this game. It's like, well, I'm bored right now. What do I feel like playing? Super Mario 64. Always there for you. Now, the first console I ever had was a Nintendo 64, and I think Star Fox 64 is the first game I played on there, which I also love that game. But this game always really resonated with me for some reason. It's just a really good game. I mean, you can't go wrong with the 3D platformer. I'm just now noticing this cartridge has really weird discoloration. Like here, it looks like there was a sticker on it or something. I don't know why, but this is my old 1996 cartridge right there. But yeah, obviously I've talked about Mario 64 in its own video. Really love this game. It's my favorite, like, traditional 3D platformer, favorite Mario game. That'll never change, I don't think, unless Odyssey 2 is like the greatest thing ever. And then obviously my current favorite game, Metroid Prime. Now, this was, I don't know what the first GameCube game I ever played was. I genuinely just don't remember. I don't think it was Metroid Prime. It might have been, for all I know. I just know I didn't finish the game until years and years later. And, it was really a game that's not like any other game. Like, there's plenty of things you could compare it to that's, like, kind of similar to, but isn't quite the same. Definitely similarities to, like, sci-fi stuff like Halo. Especially considering Halo 1 was, like, a year before this came out in 2001. So that definitely has some similarities that, like armor, power suit, first person shooter type of thing. But this one's definitely way more focused on single player and platforming and upgrades and stuff than Halo is. That one's more of a traditional like single player campaign, kind of like Call of Duty or something like that. But yeah, as you know, also made a video on this. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. Self-advertising video. But anyway, I obviously really love Metroid Prime. Still my favorite game, always and forever. Um, but yeah, as you can see, this game is kind of like a 3D platformer. It's just a mix of everything I love. Um, is like I love first-person shooters or first-person games and 3D platforms like Mario 64, right? And this is like the sci-fi stuff that I really love about games and movies and media and all that kind of stuff. So it's like a combination of everything I love, which is why I like it so much. But then, there's only so much you can get out of a game like this. It's like you get this and this and this, right? It can't be everything, even though it's most of the things I like. It's not quite everything. And that's where my third favorite game of all time comes in, which is Pokemon Coliseum. Now, I'm probably one of the only people on the entire planet whose favorite Pokemon game is actually like a spin off on the GameCube, which is Coliseum and not like a traditional one. But no, I just genuinely think this is my favorite Pokemon game. I personally think it's the best one. I feel like the company who made this, Genius Sonority, they really like went above and beyond. Like for just going from Stadium, right, on the N64 to just like a 3D way to battle your Pokemon from the Game Boy to like a full-on single-player adventure where you play as like this edgy ex-criminal character is just like the coolest thing ever. And they did have like a direct sequel to it, Pokemon XD, but it's not quite the same. You're like a kid, more like traditional Pokemon. But it's still actually that's still a really solid game, and I like it. Just not as much as this one, even though that game is a lot more quality of life things. I am gonna make a separate video on this game eventually. I just need to figure out a way to record it because obviously the GameCube does not have an HDMI output, so I'll figure that out. But anyway, this is my favorite Pokemon. It's a Generation 3 game, and most of the Pokemon you catch in the game though are Generation 2 which is why Generation 2 has most of my favorite Pokemon is because of this game, but Generation 3 is my overall favorite generation because I like a lot of Gen 3 ones as well. And you can connect the Game Boy Advance games with these as well, so that's really cool. Moving on to the next. Well, also, I kind of wanted to talk about my favorite, like, since this is my favorite Pokemon, if I had to say, like, my favorite traditional one, I would say it's this one, like I said in my other video. It's my favorite, like, general, regular, schmegular Pokemon, Gen 3, the remake. I also like the original. I don't really have a preference to which one I like more. I do like how this has Megas, but I do really like the original. I just like that era of video games, like early 2000s, the good old days. But yeah, that's basically how I get my JRPG turn-based combat fill. But Pokemon's not the only one that covers that, as Persona 3 is my favorite Persona game. And this is much more recent, right? This was literally this year. It came out 6 months ago at this point. And originally, when I played Persona 3, the original version, I really did not like the game. Like, I thought 4 and 5 were so much better, right? But that was Persona 3 Portable, and that was a very different version of said game. So I talked about this in the video about this as well. You're seeing a pattern here. Um, but I think the reason why I think it's the best or my favorite or whatever you want to call it is mainly it just, for me, it made the game that I did not like at all so much better and feel like the best game, that it deserves like recognition and praise for that, because it's hard to do that when, like, I would have never expected a game I did not like at all. Like, I'm like thinking like 7 out of 10 to turn into like 11 out of 10. Like, how does that even happen? But I don't know, man. Everything they added in this game and put in the game, I really love. I know not everyone feels the same. I feel like this game for this series is a very similar situation to BDSP to Pokemon Platinum. Like, people will say Persona 3 Fez is like the definitive way, and then Reload is the remake, and there's like it's not quite the same. It's the exact same thing with Pokemon fans, where they're talking about Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and then Platinum is the definitive way. Except I actually agree that the older game is. Not that BDSP is bad, but this remake, it's like a similar thing, but not quite the same. This remake is definitely a lot better than Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. They actually did a lot more. It's not like trying to stay true to whatever Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl was trying to do. It was like, it was traditional to a deficit, like to a bad thing, where this one is more traditional to a good thing. It keeps basically everything you like about the other versions of the game and adds more to it, or at least in my opinion. But yeah, definitely our favorite Persona game. That's our JRPG as well, very similar to Pokemon if you never played it. But yeah, another game I really like is Titanfall 2. This game is a sci-fi shooter, just like Metroid Prime, first-person shooter. I don't know what Respawn is doing, man. Where is Titanfall 3? I love, love, love this game. The multiplayer is great. The movement's great. It's just like such a good modern shooter that I'm so surprised. Like, I get Apex Legends exists and that's what they're working on, but I mean, I don't think the game is dying necessarily. It's not as popular as it used to be, and I feel like what they could do, Call of Duty has Warzone as their battle royale, and then they also have the games that come out alongside it, and then like feed into it with content. I feel like Apex Legends could have been a similar thing, where it's like that's the mode, and then Titanfall 3 released alongside that with a multiplayer and a campaign. Because, man, the campaign in this game is like surprisingly good. It's so short, but it's so good. It has like somewhat Metroid elements in how you like upgrade your Titan BT throughout. And it's just a really, really fun game. I really like it. I think it's one of the best FPS games in more modern recent years. And there really isn't a lot like Titanfall. So definitely recommend a game like that. Probably like a top 15 game or something. I do like Doom Eternal is another game I should mention. I absolutely love that game. I don't have a physical copy with me on me right now, unfortunately. I will get that. Don't worry. I will have a video on that. I will get a copy. That's all good in the hood. Anyway, another game, probably the last one for this video. But Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Now, this is weird because this is not just a remake of 7, this is like a part 2 remake of 7. I really, really liked Remake. I did play the original FF7 as well. I really the first game I played in Final Fantasy series was Crisis Core, and I liked that game. And then I played Remake. I'm like, man, this is even better. And then I played Rebirth. It's like it's even better. I will make a video on this standalone. Haven't gotten around to that yet. Probably sometime this year. Um, Also, just to mention, this cover just looks amazing. I wish you got to play as Zack more in this game, but you know it's okay. Anyway, the game itself is really fun. Best part about this is the full game is preserved on both 2 discs, both 100 gigabyte Ultra Blu-ray discs. Gotta love Sony for actually preserving stuff, and Square Enix, claps for them. Very big game, as you can see, 160 gigabytes. But yeah, really, basically took everything I really liked about Remake and like added to it. Like there's more going on. I feel like it is a little bit of a longer game, not like too long. But this is they really nailed like the. It was really important to get the part 1 right, like the start of the journey, and then the part 2. I'm sure not everyone loves it, where you could just play one game that's 15 hours, or in this case, it's like 3 parts of a, or they're all 30 hours. There's definitely parts where it drags it out longer than it has to be, but I feel like for the most part, for the stuff it adds, I think it's a lot of fun to play through, and definitely excited for whatever the third part is going to be, whether it's redemption or revival or something. Definitely excited for the finale of Final Fantasy VII. Hopefully they remake some other games in the Final Fantasy series, but definitely a really fun game, probably my favorite out of the series. Now, that's about all I have to say for this video. Just like a main collection of some games I wanted to mention and talk about that I really like, that are just certified classics in my book. But let me know what you think of any of these games, what your favorite games are. These are just some games that I feel like when I play them, you get that certain kind of feeling that not every game gives you, and it's really hard to explain, describe, but it's like a comfort game. Like you feel it in your heart. It's like, man, this game is good. And I don't know what that is. I don't know how many games actually give me that feeling besides like, well, also it's not just not, what the frick did I just try to say? Nostalgia, because as you know, this game came out this year, and the same thing with this game that came out this year. They're just genuinely really good new games. Granted, this is based off an older game, and this is also based off an older game, but they're new versions of said games, and they're brand new. So nostalgia for me, because I didn't play either of the original versions of these games like a really long time ago or anything. I just played them more recently. So yeah, for me, gaming is just thriving right now. I'm getting banger after banger. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about some of my favorite like games of series. Another one to mention besides Doom was Dishonored. Absolutely love that series. Resident Evil. I just need to get some physical copies so I can make some videos on that. But yeah, I really love all these games. Really important to me. Let me know what games are important to you in the comments, or what some of your favorite games are, or what you think of these games. And yeah, thanks for watching another video, and see you in the next one. Guys, I can't believe that I've done this. I totally forgot to talk about Sonic Adventure 2, my favorite Sonic game. Bro, my favorite character of all time in any video game is right here, freaking Shadow the Hedgehog. Anyway, adding on, I guess, at the end of this video would be kind of weird. Sonic Adventure 2, 3D platformer, more linear than the first one. I really love the first one as well, definitely top 15 game or something. But this game is like my 5th favorite game of all time. Everything about this game, like the mech levels, the speed levels, the Chow interactions of like karate and racing, and like the treasure hunt levels. I just love all the levels in this game, the personality, the characters, the story. I think it's the best in the series. Also had a video on this. Yeah, really love Sonic. I don't know how I didn't mention this. I just snuck in the back of the video. But yeah, definitely one of my favorite games of all time. I'm so excited for Sonic and Shadow Generations, bringing back so much like Sonic Adventure 2 references and Shadow the Hedgehog references and all that good stuff. But yeah, now it's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Can't believe I forgot about Sonic, bro.